Yes, good evening to everybody, the students of the International Human Rights Law. I requested them since 3 days, please inform your timings so that we could make a virtual class. But every time there is no proper reply to me, then I became a restless to deliver the lecture, hence again in the absentia that I took it. So without wasting the time, as per the syllabus is concerned, International Human Rights Law, you might have seen its course objectives and special requirements not needed. In course content 2, if you observe the 2.1, International System, the United Nations. I repeat, the International System, the United Nations. The same thing that we are going to deal now. International System, the United Nations. So let us see I don't know whether it is visible to you or bigger to you or not, but still I would try to magnify it so that you could see that what is posted on the screen. Yes, International System of the United Nations introduction, when you see it, the intertwined relationship between the international system and the United Nations has become such that it would be difficult to understand or analyze one without the other. That means both are intertwined. We cannot separate them. United Nations and international system. They go together. The evolution of the UN as a working system is a story of the changing nature of the larger international system. I repeat, the evolution of UN as a working system is a story of the changing nature of the larger international system. Yes, whatever the UN is there, we can use the word international system. The relationship between the United States and the UN has closely intersected with the place of the former enjoyed in the international system over the past 7.5 decades. But in general, we will say the UN means USA and USA means UN. Of course, in certain respects, it's true, but in not all respects. The trajectory of the relationship reveals the limitation and latitude the UN experienced through the different defining eras of the post-war international system. So now we have seen the World War I and World War II. Later on, the UN is formed. From the bipolar through the unipolar to the present flux in the potential post-Westphalian multipolar system. So here what they want to say, from bipolar to the single unipolar, and it is spread over there, the international system of the UN. For the United Nations, that is the UN, completion of the 75 years of the existence after a notable analytical opportunity, it is a remarkable feat for a broad-based organization. It is a completion of the 75 years of existence after a notable analytical opportunity. It is a remarkable feat for a broad-based organization, often caught in the high decibel political contestation and in the face of sharply voiced questions over its continued suitability to serve the contemporary international system. So, not many intergovernmental organizations have survived as long as the UN. So there is a government organizations and there are intergovernment organizations have survived as long as the UN, say a few like International Labour Organization, of course the special agencies which complete 100 years of the tumultuous existence in 2019. So actually the 6 organs of the UN were there, but the special organs will be included. To my knowledge, it is nothing but the 15, if I may be right. But unlike the international organization like the ILO, the UN has a quite open-ended mandate which is being stretched incessantly to a travel not imagined when it was established. Now let us see the next point. One explanation of the success of the UN as a living institution is enduring, if not intricate, relationship with the international system. So one explanation of the success of the UN as a living institution in its enduring, if not intricate, relationship with the international system, of which it has become an integral part. Over the decades, the intertwined relationship between the two has become such that it will be difficult to understand or analyze one without the others. As I told you that international system and the UN, they are intertwined like a dovetail joint. The international system consists of territorial defense, sovereign state possessing military and non-military capabilities for ensuring security from other states whose interests may not necessarily be convergent all the times. The 20th century international system has evolved on the fundamental principle of the primary of the state's sovereignty and the disequilibrium in the power capability among member states, the fact of which might threaten the sustenance of the system in the absence of a system functioning institutions. So that is the international relations and the UN. The question are pertinent here. Of course, this much is enough for the intertwined regarding the international relations and the UN. Of course, these experts are taken from Professor CSR Murthy, specializes in the international organization and was recently on the faculty of the School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He is the author of India in the United Nations, Interplay of Interest and Principle, Sage Publications, 2020. Now let us see the international relations plus UN. Let me put it in a small question answer form so that we could understand what it conveys. Why was the United Nations UN created? The question is, why was the United Nations UN created? The answer is, the United Nations is an international organization. It is founded in 1945 after the Second World War by 51 countries committed to maintaining international peace and security, developing friendly relations among the nations, and promoting the social progress, better living standards, and human rights. That is the purpose of the creation of the United Nations. Then the second point, let me see how many kingdoms are there in the UN. Means how many members are there in the UN. As per today, It's 193 countries from part of the organization is a member of the UN. Of course, I did not ask you now where the Tanzania became a member of this country. Of course, one should have to supposed to know it. If the students are present, I would have to ask the question and give the reply also by searching in the Google search engine. And which year it became the member of the United Nations. Of course, because it's an absentia class, I could not have a discussion with the students. I myself only deal it. Then what is the UN roles in the international system? The role of the international system, as I told you, that international system and UN, they're intertwined, as I made it clear in the beginning. The main function of the United Nations is to preserve the international peace, that is a primary important, and security. The Chapter 6 of the Charter provides for the specific settlement of the disputes through the intervention of the Security Council. Yes, it is the main organ, Security Council, which will take the major decisions. By means such as negotiations, mediations, arbitrations, and judicial decisions. So there are again, alternative dispute resolutions are there, like negotiation, mediation, arbitration, and judicial. If the students are present over there, then definitely you would have to ask what is negotiation, and what is mediation, and what is arbitration. Of course, judicial decisions, everybody knows it. But regarding other things, let's say minor difference would be there that I would have to highlight it if the students are present in the virtual class. How many organs in UN? The main organs in the UN. As I said earlier, there are 6 main organs. What are they? United Nations has 6 main organs, and especially 5 of them. The General Assembly, number 1. The Security Council, number 2. The Economic and Social Council, number 3. The Trusteeship Council, number 4. And the Secretariat, number 5. Are based at UN headquarters in New York. The only 6th organ, the International Court of Justice, is located at The Hague in the Netherlands. Let us see another small question. What kind of international organization is the United Nations? The type of the international organization, how the United Nations is. It is said intergovernmental organization. The United Nations, UN, is an intergovernmental organization. I repeat, it is an intergovernmental organization whose purpose is to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relationship among the nations, achieve international cooperation, and be a center for harmonizing the action of the nations. That is the international organization of the UN. Now let us see what are the 4 main principles of the United Nations. The preamble describes 4 areas that are the pillars of the UN. Peace. Number 1, peace, security, human rights, the rule of law. These are the 4 pillars. You can't fully achieve one without achieving all of them. So, all of them are indispensable, without which it can be incomplete. Peace and security. Security Council meets on the maintenance of internal peace and security. Human rights, yes, they will take care of it if there are violations out there. Rule of law, there is a democracy. Whether the rule of law is followed or not, it will be also discussed. Then the last, but not the least, is development of the nations, those who are the members of the UN. So now let us see Yeah. What are the three countries are not the UN, but generally we will see the Vatican. United Nations has a 193 member among the 197 states it recognizes, while the Vatican and the Palestinian states are only observers. Then the Cook Islands and the next is the New Year are non-member state since they are in free association with the New Zealand. So these are the four states which are not the members of the UN. Other entities aspect to be recognized as a member as well. Of course, there is a procedure would be there to be a member of the UN, especially Security Council plays an important role over there. Let us see what is the role of United Nations in promoting globalization. How it a globalization will promote it. The United Nations is uniquely positioned to provide an intellectual leadership in the ensuring that the advantage of the economic globalization are equally shared by the world population and the negative effects be mitigated. So naturally, negative effects would like to mitigate and which is equally good for the globalization, for the economic advantage is accepted. What is an example of an international organization? We can say example of the international organization. Of course, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO, such Asian Association for the Regional Cooperation SARC, Association for Southeast Nation Asian African Legal Constitute Organization. If the students are present over there, definitely I would like to ask the question that is, what is UNESCO and what is SARC? What is Asian? But I told you earlier, there are four types of abbreviations are there. But when you pronounce all the first letters of these words as a one word, that is UNESCO, you can say it is an acronym. Suppose if you say USA, a separate the wordings that you use, then you can say it is a initialism. And the third one is, if I say IMP, that is important, that is a shortening. That is one of the abbreviation shortening. And the contraction, cannot, have not, could not. So it's said to be the contractions. So these are the four types of the abbreviations are there. I would have to tell it, but it is an absentia. Perhaps I don't know whether you could get it or not. Suppose if you did not get it, then you can ask me, I will explain you. What are the three pillars in of UN? For 70 years, the United Nations has worked out on the front lines every day around the world on the pillars of number one, human rights, number two, peace and security, and third, development. So let us see in the small question and answer forms, what are the six principles of the United Nations? Most work, however, is delegated to six main committees. That is, number one, disarmament and international security. Number two, economic and financial. Number three, social, humanitarian and cultural. Number four, special political and decolonization. Number five, administrative and budgetary. And the last one is six, legal aspects, the legal things. So these are the things which I want to share. Now let us see what are the six organs of the United Nations. Again, I already told you that 5 organs in the New York and one organ that is International Court of Justice in, yes, International Court of Justice in located, yes, anyone? Of course, If you give the answer, The Hague, it is correct. Appreciate. Where is The Hague? Yes. If you give the answer, Netherlands, again I appreciate. So, why Vatican city is not in the UN? What is the purpose? Of course, Vatican City is a religious one. That's why they don't want any political stigma. What is the Vatican City? It is also the only independent nation to choose not only apply for the membership of the United Nations. The logic behind this decision is to be that the Pope prefer not to directly affect international policy. So the Pope wants it will not affect directly the international policy or international things. Is North Korea in UN? The question, yes. North Korea becomes a permanent member of the UN in 1991. Now let us see, anytime that Tanzania has become a permanent member, but I can assure you that, yes, India has become a permanent member in certain period. The mission is represented by the permanent representative of North Korea to the United Nations. The current permanent representative is a Kim Song. Of course, now it's there or not. North Korea also has a mission on the UN in Paris, an ambassador of the UN. I repeat, ambassador of the UN office at Geneva. Which is the last country to join the UN? Anyone? Yes? Try. If you're wrong, I can give the right answer. Of course, it's very much clearly seen on the screen. Obviously, by looking at it also, you can say South Sudan. The organization was founded by representatives of the 51 countries in 1945 and today counts 193 members of the state. The most recent state to join is the South Sudan, which was recognized as an independent nation in 2011. What are the important international organizations that govern globalization? Of course, there are many agencies out there which plays a role in the globalization. And there are special agencies like International Criminal Court. Where it is? Can anyone tell me? ICC. Yes. If you say The Hague, yes, you are right. Netherlands. United Nations is one of the international organizations which will work on the globalization. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. Yes, NATO is an acronym because it will be pronounced as one word. And European Union, EU. But EU is not an acronym because we are separately pronouncing EU. So it is called initialism. World Trade Organization, again WTO, we are pronouncing W separately, T separately, O. Hence we cannot say it's the acronym, but we can say initialism. And G20, yes, it is also the organization where the India becomes one of the member. I don't know whether Tanzania is a member of the G20 or not. Subject to the verification, let me see. How do international organizations help our country's economy? So these organizations, how far they play an important role in our economy of the country? Their functions include maintaining standards to ensure safety, helping developing countries, underdeveloped countries, each economic security, and establishing norms regarding how countries make trade agreements and resolve conflicts. So let us see the next point. How do international organizations different from states? So international organizations are different from states. Yes, states is the country. The main difference between them is that international organizations emphasize the innate rights of the individuals. So international organization, they will seek about the innate of the rights of the individuals, and the nation state emphasizes, where the nation or the state emphasizes the government responsibility to the nation. What is the government responsibility to the nation? That we can see in the states. For better or worse, nation state rule the world today. So it is more better international, the international organization, it is a nation state rule is the world's today, and it's better also. What is the motto of the UN? As I said, peace, security, and development. Generally, we'll say the peace, dignity and equality, and healthy planet. That is the slogan. If you happen to see the UN logo, in adjacent you can see peace, dignity, and equality on a healthy planet. That is mentioned over there. If you are present over there, definitely we'll ask you, what is the emblem of the UN? Of course, the color in the blue and white, having the world and two arch of the olive leaves is present over there. Of course, you would have to present, then I would have to show in the Google by showing on the screen how the logo it is. Now, what is the most important branch of the United Nations? As I told you, the United Nations Security Council is the most powerful branch of the UN. And it is the only one who has the ability to threaten a country with the repercussion or the deserving resolution passed by it. Next, the UN has almost 200 member states, as I told you already. 193, 3 in dispute, total 197. Of course, here given the 196, it is actually 197, excluding the 3 which are not the members. Then you can say, yes. In the international organization, there are only 4 countries that are non-members of the UN. They are Kosovo, Palestine, Taiwan, and Vatican City. I repeat, in the UN, there are only 4 countries. They are not the members of the UNO. That is Kosovo, Palestine, Taiwan, and Vatican City. As I already told you, the way with the Vatican City, not Pope doesn't agree the international policies. These countries have received the invitation to join the UN, but have to accept. It is the Security Council will take care of it. Now let us see that where the UN received the Nobel Prize. Of course, the answer is UN make 11 times given the Nobel Prize to the other. Over the last 70 years, the United Nations has been given 11 Nobel Prizes awarded to various agencies, specialized programs, and initiatives. This prize was inspired by the lost will of the Alfred Nobel in 1895. Upon his death, he left most of his fortune to those who made advancement for the betterment of the humanity in the areas of physics, chemistry, physiology, medicine, literature, and the peace. So with this, I would like to close it, and let us see in the next class. So that is today's lesson. Mungu ibariki Afrika, wabariki viongozi